Guten Morgen everyone, Kai Mischowski, Mount St. Peter Eye Clinic. Just got out of the OR. Today was not the best day, didn't perform well, not very satisfied, so without further delay I would just like to take you through my shit show of a surgery. In the end it wasn't too bad. Alright, as you can see here there's a lot of eye movement with the patient. I should have went just for the retrobulbar anesthesia. Patient doesn't speak my language, I don't speak his language, and the biggest problem is that I've seen this patient before the surgery, and I didn't plan and didn't go for a retro, and of course now it's too late. Tunnel is not perfect. Now I put in the intracameral anesthesia. Again, I just should have went for para or retro, and decided that before the surgery. Well, in cases like this, I always go for staining with triple blue, using air bubble to protect the endothelium. Now, again, for my taste, the air bubble is a lot too small, thus not protecting the endothelium. Don't like that at all. That is the next minor mistake. And now here is a big bummer. I'm flushing out the triple blue with my Viscoelastics, and I have remnants that stay close to the tunnel of the triple blue, and thus impacting my vision, especially in that area. And when you noticed, this is exactly the area where I start running into trouble later on. So I should have just done my homework in the pre-operative setting, and now I'm making things worse by just doing a sloppy job here. Usually you should go and put Viscoelastics in there again to flatten the interior part of the capsular back. Now this is my decompression technique of the nucleus. I just go in with the Rexis needle, I perforate the anterior capsula, and then just aspirate as much as I can within the nucleus. Now look at my paracentesis handing there. This is just another tiny hint that things are not going as planned and things are not going well. This is very poor paracentesis handing that I wouldn't have expected in a case like this. Now I'm decompressing the nucleus here. Works quite fine. You see that there's a tiny opening of the anterior capsula, which will give me the opportunity to do the Rexis better. Now, as I'm preparing my needle for the Rexis, I'm just using the same needle. You can see some efflux of nucleus material through the perforation and decompression side. All in all, this isn't that much of a problem, but this is just another factor that is negatively influencing my vision of the anatomical structures that I'm working on. Again, just another minor misstep, but visualization is suboptimal. I'm in a situation where I don't want to be. Now, things get interesting here, and you can see me that I'm starting at the 3 o'clock position, going counterclockwise, and right now you will see that my Rexis is just going wide. There, I'm going to stop it. There you can see it. Now, what you should do in a situation like that is that you pause for a moment and then think, hey, let's don't do this. And this is exactly what I'm doing here. This is exactly the wrong thing. I should have just put more Viscoelastics to flatten the interior curvature of the capsule. I'm just going on, and now I'm still going on, and you see that the Rexis has gone so wide that it's under the pupillary border. I can't see stuff anymore. Well, and now a lot too late. I'm starting to realize that I should have put in Viscoelastics first. And where I lost the Rexis was just I didn't pay enough attention. There was a tiny and sudden eye movement of the patient. All that could have been prevented, and I could have been more alert in this situation, and maybe used the forceps a little bit earlier. Now, I'm doing this now using the forceps. It's a 23 gauge forceps. This is a left eye, and I'm a right-handed person. I operate bimanually usually, but in situations like this, I much prefer to use my dominant hand. if it's getting a bit sticky there. Now I'm in a very bad situation already. What makes things even worse now is that I'm about 2 clock hours away from my working incision, and this always makes it harder to maneuver inside the eye because the angles that you use are a lot trickier to handle. It's much easier to operate in a situation like this when you are at the 5 o'clock position. And oh my God, look what I'm doing there. This is just stupid. I'm just funneling around. It's just without a plan, without a clue. And you should never do that. You should never just go in there and try your luck. You should always have a plan. Now, I'm putting viscoelastics back in, I hope. And I think I'm coming back to my senses now. I've probably pooped my pants a couple of times now. I'm coming back to my senses, and I see an opportunity there at the 9 o'clock position. I will probably start to continue with my very unelegant funneling and preparation of the anterior part of the rhexis, but it's much safer in a situation like this just to look at the rhexis and try to continue the rhexis and create an opportunity to continue with the rhexis at another position. And now you see me there at the 3 o'clock position. I'm just continuing the rhexis there. That I have some area to work with later on, and then I'm trying to work the rhexis from the 3 o'clock position clockwise towards 12 o'clock, in order with a slight hope that I might be able to catch this rhexis. Now, another major mistake that you're seeing here is that I note that I haven't even once used the push-pull to push away the pupillary border to check whether my rhexis is still somewhere to be saved or if it's just lying around somewhere. And at that moment, I just didn't have the awareness, and I was just not aware enough and not relaxed enough to think about doing that. So now I think this was quite some solution that one could have used in a situation like that. But then you see me the way that I'm handling the anterior capsulas. I'm not sure how my situation and how my stabilization of the rhexis is. So I'm doing a very, 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 very careful hydrodissection of the nucleus, because I'm still not sure what's actually going on. What the hell's going on with the rhexis at the 12 o'clock position? Is it a break, an anterior break that's going through the posterior capsula? Will I lose the entire nucleus in the next 5 seconds or not? This could have made my life much more easier for my nerves as well if I had just checked the rhexis and just use a push-pull, push away the pupillary border and check where you are. And now the situation, visualization in that part will get, of course, it will get even harder with now before the phaco starts, nucleus stuff flying around. So I should have done that before. And the way that I'm handling the nucleus now, and you can see that I'm very, very careful, I'm very reluctant. Still basically just crapping my pants with the thought that I have an anterior break that's running through the posterior part of the capsula with a nice Argentine flag sign. Might have well have just checked that at the moment. Would have given me a lot of peace of mind. And you see the way that I'm breaking now. You see a tiny pupillary snap phenomenon. You've just noted that. And then I was thinking, now it happened. Well, in the end, it didn't happen, and I got lucky there. But nevertheless, this was very, very poor handling of the situation that I was in at that moment. Now, what I actually wanted to show you in this part here is how I create tinier chunks with a direct chop technique of the nucleus. So I'm not going for 4 quadrants and then trying to pull out the 4 quadrants. I'm just doing tiny slices that I will then dislocate into the iris plane or anterior chamber even to work it up in this case, in order to try to not to stress the capsula. You will see me there working up the nucleus more not in the back, more in the anterior chamber or in the iris plane, I always count that as a sign that I'm feeling very insecure in a situation that I was way in over my head. And of course, this was all my own fault and done by me. Now, to sum it up, pre-op situation, I really messed it up because I should have went for a peri and retro bulbar anesthesia with the communication of the patient. In the beginning of the surgery, everything was floppy, and when push comes to shove, it was just a combination of bad preparation and bad handling. In the end, it worked out well, just to show you that, but that was a situation that I could have avoided before. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked that. Like and subscribe.